All right. Greetings. Welcome to Chaotic Beagle Entertainment. I'm your host, Chaos. And we have Mrs. Chaos with us today. And baby Chaos making herself known. Just talking to herself. But, yes, just wanted to welcome and thank you all for joining us today. Today is the last video in our whole IVF, IUI, pregnancy, and on to today's episode, childbirth series we've done on the channel. So, yeah, thank you guys that have been watching that, checking it out. Any comments or any questions or anything like that, throw them down below. We'll be happy to refer to you, basically respond to you guys and just give you any kind of input we've got or whatever we can do to help out. Or if you just want to know something, we'd be glad to let you know how we handled it. But otherwise, today's episode, we're going to go over Labor Day. The actual day that... The birthing, the whole laboring and birth process there on the last 2 days. And the 2 days, it took 2 days.
That's a long time. Just
a heads up. Ours took 2 days. Some were quicker. Ours started at Monday at 5. After, I think, some testing, come to find out that she had been having contractions that whole weekend prior.
So I felt horrible that weekend.
Yes. Oh, she felt
we were
awful.
trying to... Everyone kept saying bounce on the ball, and I bounced on the ball. I did all that, like, pelvic rotating and the spinning babies workouts, but... I think that whole weekend I was exhausted. I just didn't feel, my stomach felt fine, but I felt kind of queasy. Just felt not good. very tired.
Very not good.
I took 2 naps.
Yeah.
Like every Saturday and Sunday. I worked that Friday, so when I came home from work Friday, I think I took a nap that night. It was just, I was very tired.
That was a lot. It was a lot. She was having a rough time. There wasn't much we could do to make her more comfortable.
Yeah, couldn't get comfortable the whole weekend.
And but yeah, no, once we got in there, so our scheduled time to go in at our last doctor's appointment that we had talked with the doc, he said basically give them a call at 5 a.m. and if they have a bed that 4 a.m. call at 4 a.m. and if they have a bed ready, then we can be in there at 5 a.m. Go ahead and do so. She's going off over there.
I don't even know what she's talking about. Because she's not crying. She's just yelling at us.
Yeah. No, she's going to be getting a little upset there. But then again, I mean, she's fine. She's really fine. So yeah, we called 4. Basically sat up through the night.
So he sat up through the night. I went to bed and I had trouble sleeping, but I slept.
Yeah.
And then woke up and he was not in bed. And so I thought he was out here like playing a game or something. So.
Hello, little one. You already didn't lost your sock. No, these are my notes. So yeah. 4 a.m. we made that call, and they were like, yeah, we got space, so come on in. So we went in there at 5. And that was...
Monday.
That was Monday.
President's Day.
Yeah, it was Monday the 19th.
It was President's Day.
Yeah. And, let me see... I think I've got a page, some stuff missing, but pretty much, yeah, hang on. I think I've got a page missing. My notes from Monday. Yep, there it goes. I got a lot of notes.
So we woke up that Monday, called the labor and delivery to see if they had staffing. So when you're being induced, they have to make sure they have staffing. And they told us we can come in at 5 a.m. And so we went up there. The hospital that we delivered at, the whole third floor is labor and delivery, but they have those weird little pods, like little different rooms. And so we went into the same area that we had gone into from my car accident, and then they just directed us down the hallway to a room.
Yep. Yeah, they took us straight back to a room. There was no waiting, no kind of delay or anything. We went straight back to a room, got a bed. When they checked her initially, they said that there was some contractions but no actual dilation as of that time period.
Yeah. So they put me on the monitor, and I was having contractions, and which I guess was validation that I did not feel good. And then we had to have an ultrasound because I had measured big the whole time, and they were worried that she would be too big, and they said over a certain number of grams. I don't remember the actual grams. If she was over that, then we would have to do a C-section, but she was under. They estimated her to be like 8'9", I think they said.
Yeah.
Or 8'5", something like that.
Yeah, it was like a little over 8. Or
so they gave us.
Was it 8'14"?
No, they estimated her lower than she was.
They estimated her lower? Okay, maybe it was 8'7".
Yeah, it was like 8'5" or 8'7", something like that.
8'7", right in that range. So that's where they estimated her at when they did that. They did that 8 pounds 4 ounces. That's
8'4".
Yeah,
okay.
8'4". Yep, they estimated her at 8'4" from the ultrasound that they did that morning. So they started her up on Pitocin. Mm-hmm. Started that one.
Shout out to Bailey. That was my nurse when we checked in.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh. And then we started that process, and it was not everyone had horror stories about how horrible Pitocin was.
It really wasn't
Pitocin
that
was
bad.
not the worst part for me. Like it's I don't know if anyone out there, if you people are having periods, if you or any of you are girls, but they were just like period cramps. They got like some of them are bad period cramps, but if you've lived through period cramps, you're just kind of miserable, but you can still you still have to go to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what it felt like. It was bad period cramps. If you could, you'd be home laying in bed, but if you were not, you'd go to work and you would still live your life. You're just miserable, and that's kind of how it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that bad from what I could tell and the way that it was affecting her. She had a worse time dealing with some of the, trigger injections and, some of the other stuff that we did during the IVF process. It seemed like it reacted worse on her than the Pitocin did. So, started her up on that, and basically the rest of the day, Monday, we just kind of sat and she progressed along. They had her on different monitors. But for the most part, we watched this show, Resident Alien. So if anybody has not watched that, great show.
It was a good show to watch.
It was perfect. We laughed, and we had like a whole season of it to watch. So we were going through season 2, and we basically just spent the day watching that while she was, progressing along.
Yeah, I got to get up and move around. She did not cooperate for the monitor that lets you walk around. But I got to get up and sit on the bouncy ball and walk around the room. I got to go pee on my I still was able to move around. So
yeah,
like I said, it was just lots of just bad period cramps.
Yeah, and so one of the next things that they had done was they tried a Foley balloon.
Mm-hmm.
That ended up failing.
The first time they tried it, I wasn't dilated enough for it.
Yeah.
So you got to miss that. I think you had gone to get food.
Yeah.
And it was rough. And he's like, usually people have epidurals when I do this, but I wanted to wait for my epidural as long as possible, because I heard that it can slow down dilation. So I don't know how true that is. I could be a bunch of bullshit, but I wanted to delay it. And also the pain wasn't bad enough. I felt like it was ibuprofen worthy pain. If I was home, I would have taken 800 ibuprofen and not pregnant and just been okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, they did that, and then they attempted the portable monitor.
Shout out to Tori. That was my day shift nurse, also a former student.
But this little one kept wiggling around in there so much that the portable monitor just was not going to be able to pick her up. She kept rolling and twisting and flipping. So the portable monitor, no go. So, I had to help her to the bathroom like 20,000 times. So I got the hang of unplugging these machines and then plugging them all back into the right sockets to make sure that she could get up and with her IV bar or IV stand be able to go to the bathroom. I'd have to hold the cords and everything. She would have to use the bathroom, come back out, go back to the bed, plug everything back in. I didn't mind it though. I'm sitting here, we're just laughing and having a good time, and it wasn't that big of an issue. I did not have a problem with any of that kind of stuff. I just helped her every time she needed it. I jumped up. Now, I will say that the chairs in there are horribly uncomfortable. Horribly uncomfortable. Like, that thing, it was like this little single recliner. If you've seen any of the nursing rooms on TV or, you've seen them in your local hospitals, a lot of the same couches are used in a lot of different places, and those things are uncomfortable. But a lot of people are using them. A lot of people, basically, that was my bed for 2 days. And
there was a couch, but he said the couch was worse.
Oh, the couch was atrocious. That couch was awful. And it was covered in, our bags and everything. But it was atrocious to try and sleep on. So I just used the recliner. It was also a pain in the butt because that recliner, the handle didn't work to it. So I had to actually, kick the feet back down. So I had to, stomp the thing. Yeah, that was not pleasant, not fun.
The hospital is downtown Louisville, and
yes.
So I'm sure they get interesting clientele. Also,
yeah, they probably get a lot of activity in there.
What you expect from a city hospital?
Yeah, little rundown on some of the furniture, but it
I would
does
deliver
its
there
job for
again.
the
I would deliver there again in a heartbeat. I thought the nurses were really good.
Yeah,
they're set up for an ICU, so if I were to really tank, there's an ICU unit on that labor and delivery floor. They're set up for high risk.
Yep. Oh man, but yeah. And then so here's a shout out. We've got some of the nurses here. We got Bailey, Tori, Maya, Hannah. There was another Maya.
No, I think that was the same. That was night.
Was that?
Night shift Maya. She was there 2 nights.
Oh, yeah. Why did I put it down here? Oh, that was the order. So we had Bailey, then Tori, then we had Maya, Hannah, and then we had Maya again, and then Hannah for the last day.
Yes.
So that's how we had them in order. But those 4 nurses, Bailey, Tori, Maya, and Hannah, did incredible job.
Yeah. Bailey, when we got there, got my IV, and it was a big old IV, and she... Not one issue. Drew the blood at the same time. Tori, former student, did great. No complaints. And that was Monday. And then Tuesday, Monday night, we got Maya.
Yep. We had Maya, and then Hannah came in the morning.
So Monday night, they tried to put the Foley bulb in again. And I was more dilated.
Yes.
And it worked. It was rough, but we got through it. He ordered me a one-time dose of pain and nausea medicine. So I don't know if I haven't mentioned this yet, but in not feeling well, I was really nauseated. I was nauseated off and on all weekend. I was nauseated all day Monday, and so they kept offering me popsicles and do you want to eat and do you want this? Nothing. I didn't want anything. I think I had Jolly Rancher, hard candy on there, and I had some ice chips and I had some juice. But I remember when it was time for me, after I delivered and I was leaving, my juice cup was still sitting there with juice in it. It was really hard for me to eat or drink because I was so nauseated. Yes. So he ordered me the one-time dose of Dilaudid and Zofran. Zofran wasn't one time, but the Dilaudid for pain when he put that Foley bulb in. But it hurt. It definitely hurt. But in being a nurse, I think of Dilaudid pain as being pain. And to me, yes, it hurt, but it wasn't Dilaudid pain. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I didn't need an epidural. It wasn't epidural worthy, but it also wasn't Dilaudid worthy to me.
Yeah. And most of the time for a lot of those, either I was out grabbing lunch or, they had, some of that stuff they had me have to leave or whatever. Yeah. But
you were there?
I think the Foley I was there for, yeah.
The second try, you were there.
Yeah. First one I missed out on, the second one I was there. And took him a couple of tries. Took him 2 tries just because I think it was still... she was only a little bit dilated when they tried it, but it was enough that they were at the bare minimum that they could do it put in the Foley balloon. So, which I think was 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was about 3.
Yeah, 3 centimeters. So, yeah, that one was kind of wild. I was there for that. They were able to get that. Was that Dr.?
That was Kang.
That was Kang that put it in.
He was supposed to come back at an earlier time, but had to go to a C-section. So he came back in like surgical scrubs.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And the fake tattoo.
Yeah, Dr. Kang came in with a big old fake tattoo. He had his C-section gear on. And he did that. He put in that Foley balloon at 3 a.m. We were kind of up and down. We didn't really sleep through the night. We were up and down a whole lot. Especially, getting like little naps in. Especially because, like, with her having to go to the bathroom, I couldn't really go to sleep because then, I can't help her unplug everything.
I actually got up a couple times on my own.
She did.
To let him sleep. I feel like one of us had to sleep, and I couldn't do it. So, when she gets here, I'm going to need someone to be awake, and I might need to sleep then. So I felt like
it was an even trade-off.
Yeah, I felt like as much as possible, if he had a chance to get to sleep and I didn't actually need him, I was going to not bother him and let him sleep, and I was just going to be awake. So that's what we did.
Yep. And it worked out pretty well. Timing-wise and everything, it worked out. So, yeah, there was 3 centimeters. Dr. Kang came in, dropped in the Foley. And then 5 centimeters she hit at 6 in the morning. So the Foley balloon ended up falling out on its own.
So I could not, I napped, but I couldn't sleep, and he was knocked. And so I had gone to the bathroom and came back, and I was really uncomfortable in the bed, and I kind of just felt like I wanted to move. And so I got up and I sat on the little bouncy ball thing.
Yeah.
And Maya came in
yoga ball.
and was like, yeah, you're free to sit here. And she put like a little chuck down. And so I was kind of just sitting there, like, bouncing on the ball. And I think I watched like 2 episodes of Martin and then played on my phone. And then I needed to get back in bed, but it felt like that balloon was out. And so I think I even said when she came in to do shift change with Hannah, I was like, I don't think that balloon is in anymore. And she's like, okay, we'll check you. And it wasn't.
It just slipped right out.
I was 5 centimeters and it was just hanging out. So.
Yep. So it took a couple hours. It took about 3 hours of her relaxing, just laying down, not moving. That's the biggest thing with this whole process, is trying to get her to relax. Everything that I could do to make it simple, make it, give her some time to just like calm down and relax, because the biggest detriment to any of these birth processes is stress and just tension, any of that kind of stuff. So,
but you hurt, so you're trying to relax, but you're uncomfortable. You can't get comfortable.
Yeah.
Also, the idea of you're gonna be birthing a child soon is kind of nerve-wracking. So every once in a while, that would creep in your head.
Yeah.
And be like, shh.
Not an easy process. Not an easy process by any means, but the biggest thing is getting them, ladies that are giving birth, getting them to relax. Getting them to just, kind of let it take its course. The Foley balloon fell out, 9 a.m. hit, and that's when, was it Kang or was it Bolton that came in? Bolton came in. Dr. Bolton came in and said that,
Kang was off shift.
Yeah, he was gone by then because for whatever reason, after we got in, so we came in at 9 a.m. on Monday.
5 a.m.
5 a.m. on Monday. And within a few hours of us getting in, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, like the rest of the department had filled up. Apparently everybody and their mama was trying to give birth that morning within the next couple of days. Because they were like, we came in and it was just like the beginning of a flood of people, coming in to give birth. Even a couple of times when I went out to grab lunch, I saw people in, wheelchairs or getting, walking in that are heading to the L&D department. And I was like, good grief. Like, it didn't click to me, but then they mentioned that we kind of started the wave of people coming in. So I kind of laughed at that. But Dr. Bolton came in and broke her water.
Weird feeling.
Yeah, she said it was like very hot water.
Like you're peeing yourself, but it's hot.
Yeah, I think I was asleep during that process though. Yeah. I was asleep during that. I wish they would have woke me, but not that there's anything I could do.
I woke up at the end because I had to go pee.
But yeah. But there's nothing I could do. But yeah, so I was asleep.
People said it hurt. I don't think it hurt, but I think I was already uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So maybe it did hurt and I was just already uncomfortable, but it was just hot. It was weird, but everything I feel like pain picked up.
It accelerated quickly once that took place. That was again at 9 a.m.
Yeah, because I think I went and peed a couple times, and then I was like, I need something. This is...
Yeah.
We're getting to be... It was rough.
You could tell that it was... Them breaking the water really did start the process. It really did, like, kick off, hey, this is about to take place. 2.5 hours later, she started hitting the point where she wanted the epidural in. So... it
was real hard to sit still. And I was trying to... you have a long time still coming, and so you're trying to, like... I have a long time of this, but it was hard to sit still. I couldn't get comfortable. I was trying not to be whiny, but I kind of felt whiny and just more nauseous. Where are you going?
She'll know. But yeah, no, once they decided that they were going to, she decided she wanted the epidural. So I was like, I'm fine with that. They ended up kicking me out, basically, so they could do it. Yeah. They had a student with them and a bunch of other people, like 4 or 5 people.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about it. I had a nursing student and a CRNA student.
Yep.
The certified nurse anesthetist. Whatever.
Anesthetician.
I guess.
Something like that.
The anesthesia nurse.
Yeah.
The anesthesia nurse practitioner. We'll do it that way.
Yep, there we go. But yeah, they came in. They're like, well, you got to go. I was like, well, I guess I'm going to lunch. So I had found out, I believe, the night before that where we were located downtown, I knew there was a Qdoba nearby, so I was heading there. But on the way, I went to park, and I look up at the sign, and I was on the phone with my cousin Pete Sate, and I look up at the sign, and I'm like, dog, there's a Jersey Mike's in here. I was like, man. So I went over and got me a Philly cheesesteak sandwich.
Very oniony. And I came back and all I smelled was onions.
Yeah. Yeah. Normally this woman cannot smell anything, but during that process and during the whole pregnancy, she could smell onion from across the room. Like, she came in the front door one day. I had eaten Tabasco sweet and spicy Cheez-Its hours before she came home. Already closed up the box. I had ate a couple, threw them in the kitchen. She comes in the door. She's like, why does it smell like spaghetti or something in here? I'm like, what are you talking about?
It smells like peppers.
Not registering. But then she came around. She's like, it smells like spicy. I was like, I had Cheez-Its, but that was like 2 hours ago. She picked up every bit of it. Now, if I had a box next to her, she wouldn't know it. So, just saying.
Yeah, so the epidural was not, again, I feel like people told me these horrible stories. And if you're on the fence about it, for me, the epidural was not bad. It was a pinch for the numbing, and then I didn't feel anything else. It was weird because your legs do go numb as you're sitting there.
Yep.
So that was strange for me, but it wasn't bad. My nurse had me, like, I guess, lay on her shoulder. I don't know how to describe it.
I would.
You're going through a couple of contractions while you're doing it. That's why I'm glad I did it when I did, because those contractions were rough. But I don't think I would have been able to sit still much longer. It was a nursing student that was in there, and then the anesthesiologist was walking the CRNA through the procedure. But like I said, your legs go numb while you're doing it, and then they said you can get back in bed, and I didn't realize, but if your legs numb, you can't move them. So I was like, all right, and couldn't get my legs back in bed. So that was fun. And then the nursing student and my nurse put my Foley catheter in, and she's like, are you okay if she's here? And I said, as long as no one gives me a UTI, I'm down. And then, so I got my catheter, they taped everything up. And then I think I took a nap. Like, I think I went to sleep, because I finally wasn't hurting.
Yeah.
I did get a little bit more nauseous, so they gave me a little bag, and then I got more Zofran, and my blood pressure dropped. So I remember waking up and my nurse saying that she was hanging a bolus, my blood pressure was low. And then she gave me epinephrine, something like that. So here's also, I know I'm a nurse, but I'm not that kind of nurse, and we don't give the same drugs. So she said your blood pressure's low. I'm thinking Levophed, and I feel like she said ephedrine, and I was like, oh, we do that here? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was ephedrine.
And I got a bolus, but I slept.
Yeah, ephedrine.
Yeah, I slept a good couple hours.
Yeah, she slept. Her blood pressure went down. her blood pressure dropped, and they had to give her ephedrine. So yeah, I had to leave. Found Jersey Mike's talking to Cuz on the phone. So this is something, kind of a tip, and kind of something that we have figured out recently, with the epidurals, is whenever they go to do those, have them double check its placement after they put it in. She was, bent over, curled up for them to go and do the epidural. Once she sat back up, they did not recheck its placement to make sure that it did not pull out or go in too much further. So it ended up basically only halfway working as the process went on later on down the line. So
in the beginning, I was really numb, and then, as we'll get to, I was not. Yeah.
Later events developed, and she was feeling more pain than what she should have been feeling if the epidural was in the correct place that they had stuck it to initially. So it ended up moving. So what they should have did was marked where it was at, and then had her stand up or lay down or whatever, and then rechecked it to make sure that it did not go in further or did not recede out. So if anybody is going to go through any birthing process and you get the epidural, have them double check its placement and make sure that it did not move, or it didn't slide in or out by any means from where they originally placed it. But because of that, we did run into an issue later on where she only had one leg that was really feeling numbed down properly. The other one was not, and so she ended up feeling a lot of pain that she really shouldn't have been feeling, and it's nothing that, it's not that they did anything wrong, it's just that they needed to double check because of the possibility of when those muscles tense up, it might grab the needle and pull it in further.
Catheter.
The catheter. It might grab it and draw it in further, or it may squeeze it out. So basically just have them double check it once you move after they've inserted it, and that way, it's going to be efficient and effective like it supposed to be. So nothing that, they didn't mess that up, but it was just a double check. So, just a tip, we recently found out about that one. She was talking with another anesthesiologist from the hospital that she knows that she was friends with, but wasn't the one that was available when we needed them to be available.
Yeah. Our hospital uses different anesthesia for different things. So I was talking to a surgery anesthesia person who also does spinal blocks and epidurals on the side, in the pain management clinic. But they essentially have a labor and delivery anesthesia group, a pain management anesthesia group, and then the surgery anesthesia group.
So just a heads up and a word to the wise, double check it once you've moved around a little bit. If you get an epidural, after you move around a little bit, have them double check it, make sure it's in the right spot. So we just recently found that part out. Let's see, that was done at 11:30 in the morning. Around 5 p.m. that afternoon is when the pain started to jump up.
Yeah, so I noticed I was laying, the nurse was kind of helping me roll back and forth. I was laying on my right side. I was more comfortable there, but she was having me roll over, and I was like, I can feel my left leg, I think, or I think I was having discomfort, not really pain, just discomfort.
Yeah.
And so we rolled on the other side.
She shouldn't be feeling anything.
Yeah. We rolled on the other side, girl. And she said, "Oh, gravity will help." And if gravity did help, I felt like when I rolled on the other side, it helped, and it wasn't as bad. But I could still feel my leg. I was still able to move. And what should have clued me in is our doula, Jimmy, came in and was talking about helping me move, and I moved my leg, and she goes, "You can move your legs?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she went, and I feel like, looking back, I should have known.
That probably keyed in her mind, and she probably did not want to drop some more stress bombs on us at that point because we were so close. So unfortunately, we didn't get that corrected or fixed. So,
She did have me stay on that side, and then the nurse came in and checked, which I didn't realize. Looking back, I'm sure it's because Jimmy was like, she's moving her legs or something, because the nurse did come in there.
Yes.
Or Hannah? I think Hannah came in and was like checking before she left.
Yeah. Yep. So that was 5 p.m. Pain jumped up. 7 p.m. The pain increased again. So within the next 2 hours, the pain substantially increased on the left side, and she felt like she was getting like torn apart on the abdominal, like left side of her body,
like where your hip bone is, that left pelvis.
Yeah,
I could point to it. Like, it wasn't everywhere. It was right here, and I felt like at first I would just said I hurt, but I felt like people were dismissing me a little bit. I could just.
They were just thinking that it was basically just pressure from the little one and not pain of some sort, because she has the epidural in. So yeah, no, by all means.
I felt like they were dismissing me. I felt like I was saying I was hurting, and they were not like, no, you're not, but they were like, okay, that's normal. It's pressure, and I didn't know how to. I feel like I was losing the ability to talk by that point.
Yeah.
Like, it's
very, very intense pain.
It's a weird time, and it was a weird time, because I also felt like I wasn't here. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm talking to you, and I'm here, but I'm not here, and I don't. It's funny because I don't remember. I feel like I don't remember most of that night. I remember being hurting, but I remember feeling like no one was listening. Like, I'm hurting, and people keep telling me it's normal or it's pressure, but I don't everything is foggy. I think I spiked a temperature at one point. I remember they gave me a bolus, and it did work, but I just felt like I was just back, like, for a long time. I was just hurt.
Yeah, they kept having to hit her with boluses, and yeah.
Man.
It was pretty intense. It was quite a bit.
Yeah, it was a long night. I think at one point I was like hysterical in tears. I couldn't calm down. I was shaking, which I know now is just a part of labor, like
transition.
But I was shaking. I got super nauseous again, but I was hurting, and I couldn't communicate. Damn, what is happening? Oh, you stink. I couldn't communicate what was wrong. Like, I just knew I was hurting.
Yeah.
And I think I was even like, help me! Like, I was, it's like anyone came around was like yelling, like asking for help and pleading. And then the doctor came in, and I felt like I was really rude to him. But only because he kept saying, oh, is it pressure? I felt like I just became an asshole. And I couldn't stop myself. I was like, stop saying pressure! There's no pressure!
Yeah. Yeah. But, now what, so that was about 7, 9. So that was around 9 p.m. that night, was when it increased again.
The wheels fell off.
Yeah.
Poor George. I told him he was going to get some sleep that night, and then I wake him up when it was time to deliver, and I don't think that he got any sleep. I feel like you and my poor doula Jimmy were up.
Yes.
Trying to make me feel better.
Big shout out to doula Jimmy. She was a trooper on that one.
Get you a doula.
Yes.
Because he did get some breaks where he got to sit down.
Yeah.
And they traded off. And without that, I feel like we both would have been running to the ground when it was time to deliver.
Very much so. Yeah, Jimmy did a great job. You know, we even gave her a call. I think we gave her a call that night, didn't we?
At shift change, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the shift change happened, I think, about 7 o'clock that night.
Because my nurse said, let's have a baby. I think we're going to have a baby tonight. I think it was Maya.
Yeah.
Let's have a baby. We're going to have a baby tonight. And I got hyped. And I was like, let's call Jimmy. We're almost done. Little did I know.
Yes. So we gave Jimmy a call. She had probably only been home for a few hours, but she said she didn't care. Just give her a call. So we called her. She came up to the hospital. She gave me a hand with switching off to make sure that, Mrs. Chaos was in as much comfort as we could get her in. She was having a lot of pain, and it was a big issue.
I stalled dilating. Like, I feel like I did not dilate much.
Yeah, because of the pain, because of the
stuck.
Yes, because of all of that, it was making her body tense up. She was getting aggravated, which is making her tense up again. There was a lot that was basically counteracting a lot of her dilation. So, about 9:15, offered her a dose of fentanyl to kind of go with the bolus. So they came in around then. They gave her that, and then from about 10 o'clock, probably shortly after, maybe 9:30 to 10 o'clock, she finally falls asleep. Right before she falls asleep, though, actually that's when it was. It was 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock that night on the 20th of February. 10 o'clock that night was when I sent a message to Jimmy, and she came up and, gave a hand with everything that she could give a hand with. That was a big help. She was a huge, huge help. Sometimes you think of doulas and it just, the idea of them doesn't come across as being good, but they are very helpful. They know a lot of good tricks. They know a lot of, the different techniques and different things that they could do to help put a woman into as comfortable a spot as they possibly can.
They're also nice to advocate. They know.
Yes.
She knew the doctors.
Yeah.
She knew the nurses. So at one point when I wasn't dilating and I finally was feeling a little bit better, her and Maya came in and they literally turned like a rotisserie chicken. Like I think that was like your break.
They were using the peanut ball to put between her legs, and they were basically just rotating her. Yeah, they like just had her on rotation.
Yeah, and then they were doing, Jimmy called it a twerk, but you're like laying on your side, almost hanging off the bed. Maya had my leg and Jimmy was like, like shaking me, and then we rolled the other way, and they had a lot of tricks, but I think you could have your family there too, but it was nice to have like a medical person, because Jimmy, she's a doula, which is not providing medical support, but she's not, like, she is her job besides being a doula, I think she's like a medical assistant or something like that.
Yeah.
So she was able to let's try this, and no one overstepped. It wasn't like Jimmy was giving me medical advice, the nurse wasn't annoyed. It just freed everybody up.
Yeah. Basically just comfort measures, whatever they can do to help out and give me a moment to rest in between, trying to do everything that I could to make sure she was comfortable was very difficult for a number of different reasons, part of which being the epidural.
I think he just called me difficult.
But no, it helped a lot for them to go in and help with getting her as comfortable as possible, so that way the dilation can continue to progress to where it needs to be. So yeah, I called her at 10 o'clock, left her a message, she came up. Her and the nurse worked on all the pain relief and comfort measures that they could throughout the whole night. So I ended up sleeping a good bit. I woke up periodically when they were, rotisserie flipping Mrs. Chaos here from one side to the other. They were doing a lot of big things that helped me out and helped her out. They hit her with the fentanyl. She ended up sleeping till about 3 a.m. Which the biggest thing, once she hit those sleep notes, that was when she really had good progression in the dilation, because she was relaxed, muscles were all relaxed, not tensing up, not getting stressed. That's what helped push everything along, immensely.
Yeah, so I think between 3 and 5 we had that C-section talk.
Yes.
Because my water had been broke for a long time. Dr. Bolton was concerned about my fever. She was doing fine the entire time. She never had any issue. Her heart rate was always fine. But I developed a fever, and then I think my heart rate went up a little bit, because I remember him saying to the nurse, while I was not inconsolable, but still hurting and trying to breathe my way through it. Hypno babies, shout out to hypno babies too, because I did a lot of trying to breathe my way through it. That if my temperature remained up or if my heart rate went up any higher, we were probably going to be thinking C-section.
Yeah.
And then he came in and had to talk with us about if I don't progress, if I don't deliver, was it by 7 a.m. or something? Or,
yeah.
Then we had to start thinking about C-section, because she had been in there for a long time. My water had been broken for a long time. I now had a fever. The pain still, it never went away. It just became bearable. And we started having that talk. I'm not progressing. And so I remember being all right. And it gave me another, they upped my dose of the epidural.
Yeah, they upped the epidural and then hit her with that fentanyl that night.
Yeah, but then I upped my dose again during that talk because I was like, I was still hurting. And then I think I fell back asleep. I slept through shift change.
Yeah.
Because he said he'd be back and he didn't. And I remember being like, you didn't come back, dude. But I was also asleep, so he may have.
Yeah. 5 a.m. body temperature spiked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we had the epidural talk. Or the C-section talk.
Yeah. And that's, they did the boluses.
Hey, baby.
Yeah, I think at 9 o'clock they double checked and she did not have good progression. You know, they were going to go ahead and
because then
go
we have a new
towards
doctor.
doing
So now Bolton is gone.
Yes. I will say we had, through this process, we had all the right doctors at all the right times. You know, we had Bolton when we needed Bolton. We had Kang when we needed Kang. You know, we very much, I praise the doctors that worked with us and helped deliver this energetic, screaming, loud little baby that you all heard earlier. Because we had all the right doctors at the right times. You know, so that was a really big thing with it. Body temperature, the fever, body temp, and all that spiked up. So she ended up going to sleep from 5 to 9.
Yeah, I slept good too.
Yeah, she hit a good deep sleep. I was still awake. I kind of just stayed awake, played on my phone. You know, I kind of
probably updating people. I think people were starting because my sister at one point sent me a text and was like, "Where is the baby?"
Yeah, I sent some little updates here and there, but mostly it was just, you know, keeping an eye on her, making sure she had what she needed. 9 o'clock hit, and that's when they did a check, and she was actually at 9 centimeters at 9 o'clock in the morning. So we're right there. It's the last leg of the race. There's not much left other than getting that last centimeter dilation, and then it is go time. So,
through it.
Yeah. It was close to 9 centimeters. That was 9 a.m. on the 21st.
Mm-hmm. And that was Hannah again.
Yeah. Yep.
They just kept.
Which is funny because when Maya was leaving, she's like, "Watch, the moment I leave, you're gonna go into labor, and I'm not gonna be able to see the baby be born." And lo and behold, sorry, Maya. We tried.
She got me through though.
Yeah, she did.
Maya is the MVP.
Impeccable job. Her and Jimmy, the doula, did a incredibly helpful job during the night with pain measures and relaxation. Jimmy was doing like the hip squeezes and doing the leg, the leg hangs and
just turning me over and over and over.
Yeah, turning her over with the little stress ball peanut. If you've seen those, like there was a lot of stuff they did that was incredibly. All right. And then, so, biggest thing, we had all the right doctors, right times, loved them. Our nurse, Maya, unfortunately, I think, was she kind of missed out. She was kind of expecting it.
She took the worst of it, and then her other patient delivered too. Like, I remember one point, she's my other patient can deliver, then you can deliver. And I was like, yeah! And
yeah, just did not go the way we wanted it to go there. She missed out on the birth there right after she had basically left for shift change. The let's see, sleeps
9 a.m.
Yeah, 9 a.m. She was close to 9 centimeters.
Yeah, she said she would give me an hour. I think she said.
Yeah, they were going to give us another hour, see if we progressed. If we hit 10. Then
she did start me on antibiotics. I remember when she came and checked me, she said I was 9.
Yeah.
Her and Dr. Bolton both said she was going to have a cone head. They're like, oh, she's going to have a pretty good cone head. And then she said she was going to give me antibiotics.
Yep. So they started her up on antibiotics, and then 9:30. Dr. Walker was the one that came in at 9:30 and did the check. She asked if came in. Asked to look, and then she said everything looks okay. And not too much later, I think it was 9:45, she came in. She's like, okay, let's have this baby. We were like,
I feel like it wasn't until 10:30 though. I feel like we didn't get started until 10:30 because I don't think I pushed out.
9:45.
That's true. Yeah, because I delivered.
Yeah, she came in 15 minutes after 9:30. Dr. Walker came in, checked with us, said, "All right, we'll give it a little bit more." 9:45, she walked in. I think
my nurse, said that I was 10.
The nurse checked, said, "Nope, she's 10." 9:45, Dr. Walker walks in, is like, "Okay, let's have this baby." And the flood just took place. Everybody came in.
Like rushing.
Nurses, they ended up, there was a whole cabinet. So instead of bringing in like a baby station, they had a cabinet that just opened up and everything flipped down and dropped in and pulled out. And like there was the arms that came, all kinds of, it was the coolest little thing. But everything was right in that closet. I didn't even think about it. I just thought it was closet space. But nope, it had all kinds of little baby bed, the little
bassinet thing, the suction.
Yeah.
Baby suction.
It had all the deal over there. So they came in.
So the nursery nurse came in with her. That woman came in with all the tools on that table.
Yes. Yeah, she came in, had all the tools. Jimmy came in and helped with getting the mirror placed so that she could actually watch the birth herself from her position.
Spoiler alert, didn't happen. Okay.
Yeah,
it
lasted to a point, but then
we'll get there. We're not there yet.
Unintentionally bumped to where she couldn't see what was going on.
We'll get there. But the woman came in with all the stuff, and then she was like, "Oh, do you work here?" And the woman having the conversation. It's not a good time, ma'am.
Yes. I guess someone that recognized her from the ER department was like, "Oh," and was trying to have a conversation. She's like, while this, baby head starts protruding from.
It was a lot.
From areas.
Yeah, and the doctor, all the doctors don't push with you apparently, and Dr. Walker does, which is good. It was really good.
Again, we had the right doctors at the right times. Dr. Walker is the one that will come in. She will push. She will coach you. She gets hyped with you.
I would have liked to deliver Dr. Kang just because he saw me the whole way through, and I feel like he's a good cheerleader. But I feel like his peppiness at some points really would have not been welcomed. Yeah.
Dr. Walker is a little more smooth about it. But yeah, I think I would have liked Dr. Kang to have been the delivery doc, but
Walker was perfect for that time because Kang doesn't push with you, and we needed someone to push with us.
Yes.
But the scribe guy came in. He stood behind the curtain the whole time. It was kind of cute. He had his little computer, and he just kind of stood in the corner behind the curtain.
Yep. Because I will say there's some inexplicable blood splatter that will take place during this process. I will say.
So I've never seen like a birth. I don't think I realized that it was bloody, but I do know that people usually poop. And so I just told, I'm going to poop. Like, I'm probably just going to poop. And I know people are bothered by it. There's no more in here, ma'am. I'm a nurse, and I feel like nurses have seen poop, and if you can't handle poop, then you probably shouldn't be a nurse. And so I wasn't that bothered by the poop. I just figured it was going to happen. So I thought that's why he was standing in the corner. I didn't think about the blood. The nursery nurse was there. She was waiting.
Yeah. Yep. So, once Dr. Walker came in, she's like, "Okay, let's have this baby." And, they put her in the stirrups and got her ready.
Took that bottom out of the bed so it feels like your butt's falling.
Yeah. They got her prepped, and next thing you know, we're counting, 1, 2, push, or 1, 2, 3, and, I did my best to stay, in her visual range, but, be able to look down to see what's going on down in the lower perimeters. But I stayed with her as much as I could. One thing that did help was getting her. We watched a lot of videos, did a lot of different stuff, doing what they call a moo cow. Is basically, instead of like, high pitch, like tense pushing, if you do the moo, like it's a low, you relax your jaw, you relax your lungs, you relax all of your muscles through your body. If you're doing a low guttural, kind of sound and breathing and everything. They call it doing a moo cow, and I'm telling her, I'm like, "Hey, do a moo cow." And she would start stressing a little bit, and I'm like, no, don't do that. Just do a moo cow. Just do that. Just do that breathing instead of that's fake. Don't do that. Do the moo cow.
That's fake.
That other stuff is all for show because that stuff does not
balance families, balance birth families, birth balance. I don't know.
Birth balance, yeah.
They were, it's like a husband-wife couple.
Birth balance company, birth balance crew, because it was the BBC and that's.
Oh yeah! Oh my God!
Yeah. Y'all know me. I'm chaos. Daggone it. But yes, so telling her to do the moo cows. We did have access of the mirror for a little bit.
Yeah, I did. Oh, good job. I did look a couple, like 1 or 2 times, because they were like, "Oh, she's got so much hair," and "Oh, you're a good pusher," and I don't know what that means. And so I looked to see what that means. I still don't really know what it means.
No, I mean we did a few counted pushes, and this kid was like coming out. There wasn't any real resistance or issue or problem taking place with the birth. You know, she was doing the moo cows. I kept her focused on that, and this kid came out decently easy enough. So once she got about halfway out, down to her little shoulders here, she did have some shoulder dysplasia. Dystocia. I would say dysplasia. Dystocia. So basically, once her head got out, her shoulder got caught.
So she came out sunny side up. You're supposed to come out. She should have been facing my spine, but instead she was facing like my belly button when she came out, and she couldn't make the turn because her shoulder was stuck on that same spot that I was having all that pain and pressure.
Yep. So we come to find out that all that pain and pressure that she was experiencing the night before was this little one's whose shoulder was stuck. Her left shoulder was stuck in her abdominal area, and she couldn't
under my pelvic bone.
Yeah, she couldn't twist to get it out. So, you know, no major concern. It's not like life-threatening, but it is.
It could be.
I mean, if it ended badly. Ours wasn't. Ours wasn't that bad.
No.
That
and
it
ours
was
happened
going
so
to
fast
be.
that I honestly don't really remember. I remember the lady with the tools saying, or my doctor saying, "We have a shoulder." And I remember the lady with the tools saying, "Do you want to do a C-section?" And I remember being like, "C-section?" But when I looked up, the mirror was gone. So
yes. Yep. It was inexplicably flipped up
good
to where
call,
she
Jimmy.
could not see.
Good call, Jimmy. I'm looking at the ceiling.
Yep. So I kept her. I was like, nope, just moo cow. So she kept going with that. But baby girl got her shoulder stuck. She had the shoulder dystocia.
I remember her saying,
she had
"I'm
a
gonna
major cone head, big time cone head."
I remember my doctor saying, "I'm gonna have to cut you," and I was like, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say no. She has to get out of there.
Just a from a guy's perspective, that was brutal. Like, I'm expecting, like, you know, some scalpels and some precision, this, that. No. I basically see the doctor grab these black handle large, like, you know, back in school you had those big black scissors that everyone always has. Basically a supremely sharp pair of those.
Bless you.
And the doctor grabs them, and she's just like, I was like, oh, moo cow, do the moo cow. Moo cow.
I should probably say
cow.
Also, my nurse gave me a bolus before we started pushing.
Yeah.
So I could feel kinda, but not really. Like, I felt pressure sometimes, but not really. I don't know how to describe it, but I felt pulling, but I didn't feel cutting. It just felt like she was pulling.
Yeah. I saw it. It was wild. There was blood spurts and everything, and it just threw me way off. Because I'm over here like, yeah, do the moo cow, do the moo cow, do the moo cow, do the moo cow. And I just see, you know, the doctor just, you know, going at it. But, I mean, she did what she needed to do. She ends up, I see the baby come out a bit more. But she's still stuck in that pelvic bone a little bit. So I basically see her just Dr. Walker reaches up, just grabs her by the shoulders and the head, gets his real solid grip on her, and I just see her, it's wild to say it now, but I just see her grab the baby and just kind of lean back and just leverage the baby, and just whoop, came sliding right out once you got that shoulder unhooked from the pelvic bone, the dystocia, the double episiotomy that she had to enact. She had to do. This little one just came flipping right out of there. I was like, okay, cool. Normally, she came sunny side up.
It's weird. I had a lot of rib pain my whole pregnancy up in here, and when I was when she's, I guess, sliding out, like her shoulders are out where she's coming out, all of a sudden I felt like I took a big deep breath. Like I was like, oh, I can breathe. My ribs don't hurt.
Yeah, that's when we came to realize that her shoulder being stuck was the biggest pain issue that Mrs. Chaos was having with her the whole time.
Apparently her feet were kind of wedged in my ribs, and that's why I feel like I was so uncomfortable there at the end.
Yep. But yeah, no, Dr. Walker slid her right out. That's when we knew that her ab and ribs and everything were being just pain on that left side.
Yeah.
It's because the way that she was positioned inside. But yeah, no, that was a big thing. She came out super cheesy.
Yeah, apparently, I really don't remember much of the delivery, but Jimmy had asked me when she came back, when did she stop grunting? I didn't know that she really was grunting. She's like, yeah, they took her to suction her quick because she was grunting. She couldn't clear her throat because of the meconium. I have no memory. Yeah. I wish I did, but it feels like an out-of-body experience. Like, I remember looking and she was there. Oh, you have a baby! And I was like, yay. But I don't remember, like, it felt very, like I was watching myself have a baby.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah. It was kind of wild. She came out, she was, covered in the meconium, and,
That was pretty cheesy.
She was cheesy. I did get to cut the umbilical, which was super fun. It was very wild though. She was, Dr. Walker had it clipped and she was holding the umbilical up for me to cut. She's like, here, just take the scissors, cut this real quick. The umbilical cord was it felt like rubbery flesh. It's very odd. It was very like rubbery type flesh, and when you cut it, it took a little bit of pressure and effort to cut through it. And when I cut through it, it was, a spurt of blood or whatever, because it's got blood still pumping through it. I believe normally they sit and allow some of the nutrients in the blood that's in the umbilical to pump.
Yeah, the golden hour. So they like to put them on your chest, let the umbilical cord stop pumping. You're doing skin to skin as they're sewing you up, and like in a perfect world, if I would not have had my enormous baby come out and tear me open, that's how he would have done it.
Yeah. But unfortunately, because she was grunting and could not get her airway clean, they just snip it, get her over to the table where they had this big heater, they had a computer over there, they had monitors, they had a lot of different stuff over there, and they were checking her, going over everything, looking at her cone head, making sure, eyes, nose, ears, hands, toes, feet, all of it, checking her over, and she came out great.
She was mad.
She wasn't happy about it, but yeah, there was a lot of blood. I will say there was a lot of blood. Man, it was an impressive amount of blood for what I was expecting. Like, it was sprayed kind of everywhere, Let's see. Baby had issue grunting, crying and breathing. Nurses took her over to the station, and they worked her on her, and they got her all cleared up, got her cleaned out, cleared up, cheese off of the face and the nose and the mouth and everything, so she could operate. So she came out solid. She came out good. Let's see. She came out completely healthy. Yeah, no, everything worked out.
The cord was not in the right spot. The placenta cord.
Yeah, Dr. Walker was doing the sewing. She ended up sewing her up and stated that the placenta, she had to manually remove it.
So the umbilical cord is supposed to be in the middle of the placenta.
No.
And mine was on the edge, I guess. And so it's I don't know what it's called. Something with a V. That if she would have tugged on it like they normally do, it could have broken apart from the placenta. And so she was like, weird, I could feel her pulling. I could feel like the front, like here, just kind of feeling funny. And that's when she's like, I'm gonna have to manually remove your placenta. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell that means. Like, okay. And so I guess, and then I remember I was bleeding a lot. I heard her say, and then I'm gonna give you a suppository, Cytotec or whatever, so to help your uterus clamp down. Again, I don't know what any of that means. I don't know what's going on. I assume a lot of blood's a lot of blood, but I again, the mirror was gone. So if I'm looking down, and also I delivered this big baby, but I still have the big belly, so I still really can't see anything. And so I'm looking down, and I'm like, okay.
It was very wild.
He's still standing, so I guess.
Yeah. I will add a video on here. It's going to be a little bit of the very beginning of the birth process when everybody kind of came in the room after Dr. Walker said, "Hey, let's have this baby." It doesn't show anything graphic. It's basically just kind of.
You're not going to see my vagine.
Yeah, you're not going to see anything that YouTube won't let us show. So don't worry about that. But I'll put that video up. And basically, baby came out good. Other than the shoulder dystocia and her getting stuck, but then, Dr. Walker just wedged her out of there.
I remember my nurse, Hannah, she's a little girl. Like, she's not a girl, a woman. She's not like a big person. She was tiny.
Yeah.
And I think she had a stool maybe, but I remember her and Jimmy had my legs, I feel like, to my ears, like some kind of weird sexual position. And she had her elbow in my stomach and she's like, "You're doing great." Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling her to moo cow. She's got this nurse over here just elbow dropping her belly. And yeah, no, it was kind of wild.
So I will deliver at that high risk downtown hospital anytime.
Yep. They did an incredible job. Loved every bit of it. Yeah, so she got stitched back up. Now, the part where Dr. Walker had to go and remove the placenta from the walls because it was too well attached. It wouldn't let go. She couldn't just pull it. Yeah, that was just kind of weird because, she had to put on a pretty lengthy glove and grab this tool.
From the table of tools.
Yeah, she had this table. And she had the tools, she grabs it, and I'm looking, I'm like, what is that? And I just see her reach down and, basically go about elbow deep to detach the placenta from the walls. And I just see her, like, arm moving around and scraping. I'm like,
no memory of any.
Moo cow. Oh, wait, you don't have to moo cow. She's out. It's good. Everything's fine.
I have no memory of any of this.
It was wild. It had me kind of flabbergasted at just watching it.
Gasted his flabbers.
Yes, every bit of my flabber was blasted out of that piece. But no, it was a very wild process. It was very ours, and honestly, she was in labor for 24 minutes.
No, I pushed.
Well, yeah, the push, the actual pushing. That was from 9:45 until what was it, 10? I think it was 10:10. I want to say it was like 10:10. So she was in there for like 25 minutes. Labor for well over days. 48 hours.
So many days.
That was well beyond 48 hours. That was because we went in at 5. You were having contractions the whole weekend, but if we went in at 5, you had her at 10. So that was what? 53 hours of labor.
Where I slept maybe like 3-hour increments here and there.
Well, you had a good like 4 or 5 hours after you got the fentanyl. That fentanyl knocked her out. It was one of the only things that got her to be able to relax well enough to where she could dilate properly. The biggest thing with this if anybody asks or if you guys have any questions or concerns, the biggest thing is just removing as much stress as possible so her body can relax. And if the body is relaxing, then it's able to dilate the proper way it's supposed to. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest that I can give you guys, is just relax as much as possible. Remove anything that's stressful and let the body naturally do its own dilation. And then you end up with something like this. Would not trade it for anything. But this whole process was very wild. IVF is a very beneficial process. It's helpful. It worked out perfectly for us as she slobbers all over herself, spit up. But yeah, no, the doctors that we had, Bolton, Kang, Walker, incredible doctors, loved every bit of it. Doula Jimmy did a great job. There was also Doula Alexis.
Yeah, and then Jimmy had someone else come by. Didn't someone else come by and try to help me with breastfeeding?
I thought it was Alexis.
Alexis came by with the poop help.
Yeah.
Another story. Baby wouldn't poop.
Yeah.
But I feel like.
Oh yeah, no, she came postpartum.
Yeah.
There was another one that came during the process. I don't
know who she was.
I feel bad. If anybody, if Jimmy or anybody does come across this, put her name in there, please. Because Jimmy, doula phone. Yeah, I did not get her name.
Because it was, the doula phone.
Yeah, I feel bad that I didn't get her name. But yeah, no, I mean, everything was awesome. It was wild. It was a roller coaster. The first day we're just sitting there watching, Resident Alien shows and just kind of chuckling it up. And then Tuesday, everything just went straight downhill and just kind of roller coastered up and down, up and down. Biggest thing was doing everything I could to keep everything as low stress as possible, but also trying to keep her relaxed, trying to keep her focused, trying to keep her, in as good of a mental and physical state as I possibly could help to do, while basically just burning myself, at both ends, which I didn't mind doing.
I think you did a really good job.
I think I did good. I mean...
Because it could not have been easy with me falling apart Tuesday night, ma'am.
Yeah. But I didn't mind doing it at all. To get this little baby out here to enjoy the world as we have it.
I tried to give him as many breaks and leave him alone as much as possible.
No. But it didn't help. That chair was so awful. That chair was so bad. I could not help that chair was so uncomfortable that it just didn't help. But otherwise, I mean, it was a very weird process to go through. I know some people, some guys end up fainting, and some guys can tough it out and go through it. I, was able to hold myself together through the whole process and help out as best I could.
You probably had some crazy high blood pressures for a little while.
Man, yeah. I mean, I had all kinds of snacks in my bag. I had all kinds of drinks and snacks, and, I went out for food, and then, just go out for some little air there, here and there, and then there were times I'm just basically staring at her while she sleeps. I'm just like, hey, is everything good? Everything's good. Okay, keep going. So, yeah, no, all in all.
What I thought was funny is how soon after you deliver, they're like, all right, get out. And they take you to postpartum. She said, we'll see if you can stand. Oh, I didn't have any urine output. And she's like, and I guess it was bloody. And so then they gave me a bolus of fluid, another bolus, but I was IV fluids. And then I guess I was okay because I had urine output, took the catheter out. She said, we'll see if you can stand. And so I could, and I didn't know there was going to be so much blood. And then, because they had all these chucks and diapers under me, and I stood, and she helped me get cleaned up. And then she said, okay, we'll see if we can get you a room in postpartum. And so I was like, okay, I guess we should pack up. And so he helped me walk over and start packing up.
Yeah.
And she's sleeping in the bassinet, and I'm like, this is so surreal. But I, again, felt like I wasn't here. I feel like people were talking to me and I was answering them, but I feel like everything I was answering was like in slow motion. Like they were like, "You doing okay?" And I'm okay. It just felt so, I was so tired and it felt so weird.
Yeah.
And then we got to postpartum and I talked to that nurse and then I went to sleep.
Yeah, I think we checked out Friday morning. Yeah, we were there for another 2 days.
Yeah, because we delivered on Wednesday.
Yeah. Wednesday morning delivery and then Friday morning checkout.
Yeah, because Wednesday afternoon, I feel like I slept until like that night.
Yeah, that very first night, I basically stayed up the whole night. I did not sleep for another 24 to 30 hours after that. Because basically, while she slept, all the doctors, all the nurses kept coming in and asking questions, checking on the baby. Yeah. And
kept doing blood sugars on her because she was so big.
Yeah.
And I guess even though I passed the glucose test, they thought that I may still have been diabetic. So did all the blood sugar checks on her.
Yeah.
And then we got her to latch. She latched really good.
Yeah. She latched fine. And then the docs and everybody were coming in, checking. And I was like, that's cool. I was like, I'm just going to stay up so that way they don't have to wake her up to check on the baby. I'll just answer any questions. I'll take any direction. I'll give them, direction on what, hey, we're going to do this. We need that. I gave them everything they needed. So I basically just stayed up the rest of that day, that night, and then on to, I think it was late morning the next day. By the time I basically just burnt out.
Because I was up, and we were up and down, with her.
Yeah.
But that first night, she slept so good.
Yeah, she slept quite well that first night.
Yeah, we were fooled.
Yeah.
Because she did not sleep again for like the first month of her life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I was up and down like feeding her, but I slept pretty good that first night. And then that morning, around 6, you fell asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, I just burnt. She was like, here, you can take a nap. I was like, all right, I'll take a nap. I ended up sleeping like
the whole day.
12 hours. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Which was fine because I had got to sleep a bunch that night. And then, she's sleeping in between. So I felt like this is why I wanted you to sleep as much as possible during delivery because then we could just tag team. So they took her for some labs at one point. I went and took a shower and cleaned up. No one told me, though, that suppository that they give you to help your uterus clamp down, I did not poop in delivery, I don't think.
Mm-mm.
But
no delivery poops.
Yeah, I did not. I thought I would. But I definitely had a rough go after delivery because that's suppository. No one told me that was going to be that rough. And then my nurse gave me a stool softener and I was like, I don't want this.
Yep.
We're having enough trouble right now. I think between that and the antibiotics that I had to keep getting.
Yeah. But, no. Other than that, everything else worked out.
It was an amazing process.
Yeah. I was quite pleased with everything, and
she came out with all this hair, but it wasn't curly
She
yet.
came out with a full head of hair.
It was all straight, though.
Yeah. Which explained a lot of the heartburn that she had. So, yeah. Alright. Anything else?
You did a good job, Dad.
Thank you. You did too. You pushed her out easy, smooth. There was no big problems, no issues other than her little shoulder deal, but otherwise,
I think a day or two later I noticed it had a bruise on it.
Yeah, little birthmark, little bruising. Mm-hmm. So, yep. That's all we got here. Nothing else. If you guys have questions or comments or anything, throw them in the comments below. Other than that, I'm Chaos with ChaoticBeagle Entertainment. Thank you all for joining us. Please do, if you like these videos and want to see more, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get notified when we put out other videos. Throw some comments if you like this kind of stuff. We'll see about doing some more videos on it. But other than that, I'm signing out of here. Miss Chaos and Baby Chaos along with me as well. Y'all take it easy. Have a happy, safe, fun day. We'll see you later.